What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got some pretty big news coming out of the Dolphins, organization or whatever. They have made a roster move that is pretty huge, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Multiple sources are reporting on this, but this one's coming from Bleacher Report. Dolphins rumors Kyle Van Noy to be released or traded 1 year into his $51 million contract. 1 year after he signed a 4-year, $51 million contract with the Miami Dolphins, Kyle Van Noy is expected to play for a new team in 2021. NFL's network Mike Garofalo initially reported the Dolphins were going to release Van Noy, who then appeared to confirm the news by issuing a statement. And real quick, let me give you those statements. First, Mike Garofalo's. The Dolphins have informed linebacker Kyle Van Noy he will be released. Source says Cameron Wolfe indicated this might be coming. It is confirmed. Statement from Kyle Van Noy following his being informed by the Dolphins he'll be released. And this part is actually pretty important because it plays to some of the other things that I've been saying. I am surprised and disappointed in their decision. As a captain, I gave my all to the team. I fought through a painful hip injury during the season, including spending a night in the hospital after a game. I was brought there to be a leader, and I know my teammates looked up to and respected me. I'm looking forward to making an impact on my next team on and off the field. The reason why I say that is important is because it plays into the point that I've made about how they don't know how to build a team or a proper culture. And the way that they benched Ryan Fitzpatrick, the way that they lied to Laramie Tunsil and just traded him, right? Like, these people, these players, these human beings see the way that they treated Kenny Stills, right? They see how they treat these people as if they're just expendable assets that, really are fucking just that, right? They can just be, brought in or kicked out willy-nilly at their fucking, at a whim. I mean, there's reasons for it, sure, but it proves those points, right? It proves that and look, to be somewhat fair, I guess, the Patriots did have a pretty cutthroat approach, and sure, they, were big time winners for a long time, but they did have, Brady and Belichick, of course, they did know how to, properly evaluate, right? So they were able to bring guys in that were able and get the most of them. So far, this organization and Brian Flores has not proven that he can do that. And one of the guys he brought in and paid big money to last offseason, he's already gotten rid of, right? So, I mean, it's just a giant mess. And not to mention, one of the key pieces to your so-called dominant defense last year. Now, to be fair, again, they had moments and flashes of dominance, sure, but they weren't actually that dominant, right? They had their moments, but they weren't consistently that dominant. So now you get rid of him. Xavier Howard wants a new contract. Are you going to be able to pay him? Maybe, with the way that they're cutting cap space. We'll actually get into that a little bit more in a minute, but let's go ahead and finish this. Per Karen Guresian of the Boston Herald, Van Noy potentially returning to the New England Patriots is in the realm of possibility. According to the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Miami hopes to find a trade partner for Van Noy, but he will eventually be released if no deal materializes. Per ESPN's Cameron Wolfe, the Dolphins will save $9.75 million against the cap in 2021 if they release him. So they're at like $25 million. That'll put them up to what, like $34 million. They're still in cap hell. Now, we'll get more into this in a minute, but they're doing it because they want to be big spenders again in free agency. I told you that's not the way to do it. It's never really proven to be the way to sustainably build a team for, long-term success. And yet they constantly do it, especially the Dolphins. Stephen Ross thinks, and I've mentioned this a million times, he thinks he can just throw resources, usually money, but also like draft picks and stuff like that, at the problem and think it's going to get fixed, and that's not the case. And again, we'll get into this in a minute, but there's another report that I'm going to read through about how they want to be big spenders again in free agency. So they're going to cut one of their leaders, one of the guys that he's familiar with, his ties to the Patriots, a productive player, a guy that they just had to get last offseason to really turn this team around, a guy who actually did, contribute to those flashes of dominance and so on and so forth, right? Like, you just had to pay him all that big money, and now they're getting rid of him because they need to clear up cap space. Why? Because they are in cap trouble already, because they blew through like $100 million in cap space last year, and now they're trying to clear up some cap space so they can do it again. It's stupid, and it's not going to work in their favor. And yeah, anyway, I mean, that's my speculation. We'll see how it goes. Van Noy was part of Miami's offseason spending spree last year that also saw the team sign Byron Jones, Jordan Howard, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Shaq Lawson. Pause right there for a second. I told you guys, first of all, their evaluation process on players is garbage, but also I told you guys these players were going to be a waste of that money. Kyle Van Noy's already gone, one of those big contracts. So is Jordan Howard. They already cut him a while ago. Right, so there's two of those guys. That list of player evaluations that are failures, or, you know, I guess you can add to it, not necessarily just failures as in, you know, a player who didn't contribute to the team at all, but somebody who actually did contribute to the team and is just cut bait with, you know, early in the process, right? So, you know, it's ridiculous. But Byron Jones, why is he paid more money than Xavier Howard? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And that's part of the reason why Howard wants a new contract, because he's a million times better than Byron Jones. Byron Jones is not worth the kind of money that he's being paid. But anyway, Miami gave Van Noy $30 million in guaranteed money as part of the deal. He was due to make $12.5 million in base salary next season. And that's the thing, though, too, is I also told you that it was a problem that they not only were giving out these massive overly priced contracts, but they were also super front loading. Now, it's a good thing for the players. I'm happy for the players that they're getting all that money front loaded, but it's not good for their cap space, especially, and I said this at the time, well, what if he doesn't even make it through his 4-year deal, which he only made it through one season? Like, really? Like, really? I told you guys, I told you, yet again, proving me right, but of course, nobody ever wants to listen. Van Noy rebuilt his value during 4 seasons with the Patriots from 2016 to 2019. He had 35 quarterback hits and 16.5 sacks in 51 games with them. The BYU alum also won 2 Super Bowl titles, blah, blah, blah. During his lone season with the Dolphins, Van Noy ranked 3rd among all non-defensive linemen with 28 total pressures. That's all right. He finished 2nd on the team with 10 quarterback hits and 3rd with 6 sacks. Solid, right? But that's the kind of, like, at best potential you really expect out of Kyle Van Noy. And I told you, right, that coming in, I didn't want to pay him that big money, not just because of my philosophy of being one to not be a big spender in free agency, but I was concerned about his injuries. I was concerned about the price that they were giving him. I was concerned that he wasn't going to see the entire deal because they were going to end up cutting him early in the process, etc., etc. And so all of those things have come to materialize, and I'm telling you, man, it's not going to spell good things. And again, I think it's super important that yet again they have made a decision that I believe could be ultimately detrimental to their team culture, which is super important to building a sustainable winning team. You got to have the chemistry. That was part of why Tua didn't perform well last year, because he wasn't ready for it. He didn't know the playbook. He was still a rookie and had to get used to the NFL. It was a fucked up season because of COVID, etc. And because he didn't have time to gain chemistry with his teammates. They just threw him into the fire at a completely absurd time. But again, the way that they the way that they treated Kenny Stills, right? Just real quick, he, made a benign comment about the hypocrisy of Stephen Ross supporting Donald Trump and holding a fundraiser for him while also being the person who organized his organization Rise, which is like Ross Inequality or Ross Initiative for Sports Equality or something like that. Because it's true. It goes against the mission statement of that organization to support a racist piece of shit like Donald Trump. And so he made a super benign statement and all this drama fell out. They handled it completely wrong, the Dolphins organization, including Brian Flores, who proved he's a liar and a sellout and a piece of shit by doing what he did in that situation. And then it led to him being traded along with Laramie Tunsil, whom they told to his face would not be traded. And then they traded him. He's a liar and a sellout piece of shit. Anyway, and then, not to mention, various other things, right? Like the way that they benched Ryan Fitzpatrick for absolutely no reason, no apparent reason anyway. He didn't get hurt. He wasn't playing bad. And they won 2 consecutive games, right? So, and again, I don't have actual evidence for this, but my guess is it was all because Stephen Ross demanded that Tua go in. But, you know, he was heartbroken and disappointed. And, dude, these players take note of this shit. You think that they don't fucking pay attention? And now they just got rid of one of their team captains, you know, 3rd in sacks on the team when they were definitely fucking hurting for, you know, they certainly improved from the year before, but they didn't have literally anybody the year before because they were tanking, right? So, I mean, just none of it makes any fucking sense. But here we are. Anyway, let me get through this other article because it is relevant and ties in. The Miami Dolphins could be major players in free agency. According to the Miami Herald's Barry Jackson, Miami released linebacker Kyle Van Noy on Tuesday to help free up cap space to pursue free agents. A source said there is some support inside the Dolphins to clearing out cap space to be aggressive in free agency. Jackson wrote, this move would help accomplish that. But why would they need to? First of all, again, the approach to be aggressive in free agency is not a winning approach. It's just not. It's never proven to be, especially for the Dolphins, and it's not going to be. Again, last year was an aberration. I know most people don't think this, and part of the reason why people don't listen to me, but last year was an aberration. The Dolphins got very lucky in a lot of ways. And when I say that, some of it is just like, you know, pure luck of how balls bounce and stuff like that, but also just because of the fact that for the vast majority of the season, they remained one of the healthier teams in an immensely injury-riddled season, right? So they likely would not have destroyed the 49ers if the 49ers were at full strength, etc., right? So they had a lot of things go their way this year, and I firmly believe that they drastically overperformed for where they are actually as a team in reality. And I'm telling you, man, there's constant change. The roster is constantly turning over. The coaching staff is constantly turning over. There's no consistency. And this approach, man, I'm telling you, it's gonna backfire because it always does. Anyway, Miami reportedly is looking to add playmakers to its offseason to help young quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. By clearing up cap space, the Dolphins could pursue a top wide receiver such as Kenny Galladay or Allen Robinson if their current teams don't elect to bring them back. During the 2020 offseason, Miami spent big on defense by signing Van Noy and Byron Jones. However, it looks like the plan may have switched entering the 2021 offseason. Last season, Miami was 10-6, but it still missed the playoffs, so the Dolphins can land a big name on offense and free agency. It may be worth the loss of Van Noy. Okay, so the defense takes a step back to hope maybe you can take a step forward on offense. Okay, dude, whatever. Look, I mean, again, people don't listen to me anyway, so obviously most people don't believe or you know, fall into the perspectives that I do. And that's cool, man. That's cool. But I've been telling you guys, and I'm going to keep telling you, this is going to end up bad for them. Watch, in 2021, in the 2021 season, the Dolphins are going to regress from the 10-6 team that they were because they are not a 10-6 team. They are not that good. They are still a very, very long way to go. Before they are, you know, a 10-6 quality team, and certainly a team that can be that that can be at that level of play for a consistent period of time, year in, year out, compete for division titles, compete for you know, AFC titles, and push to make it to the Super Bowl. They are a super long way from that. I mean, again, even look at the Browns. They finally made it to the playoffs after like 7 years of a rebuild after doing a tank. We tanked far harder than they did, and we are much farther behind the 8 ball than they are. Of course, people don't think that again because we went 10-6 last year because they're incapable of seeing how you know, aberration-y it is, whatever. But anyway, look, I'm telling you, man, and again, I don't want that to be the case, but it is the reality. And unfortunately, the vast majority of the information points in that direction and suggests that that is the case, or going to be the case. So again, I hope that they prove me wrong. Look, we'll see what happens. If they manage to go 10-6 again in 2021, and you know, their defense at least stays on par from where it was last season and theoretically should improve, and then if the offense improves, particularly if they drastically improve, okay, fine. Then there's reason to fucking you know, say maybe they're actually getting it turned around. But until that happens, they still have a very, very long way to go and a lot to prove. Anyway, so that's that. That's huge news. Van Noy is gone. And yeah, so there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I'm out. See y'all soon. Fins up.